Good evening. I want to call the meeting of Monday, October 10th, 2016. Can we please stand for the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Christensen?
Here.
Mr. Gingona?
Here.
Mr. Buenaventura? Mr. Torres? Mr. Canepa?
Here. Mr. Buenaventura is on his way, and Mr. Torres could not be here tonight. Our first presentation is the Marijuana Education Campaign. Ms. Pilazar and Ms. Beer. Good to see you, Leanna.
Hi, everyone. Well, thank you, everyone, for having me here today. My name is Leanna Pilazar. I am the project coordinator with the North County Prevention Partnership. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Marijuana Education Campaign, but actually I want to follow up a little bit about some of the work we've done in prevention here in the city. So just to reintroduce who we are as a partnership, we are a community-based partnership coalition that aims to reduce youth substance use in both the cities of Daly City and Pacifica. We focus on environmental strategies, which comes in the form of community assessments, education, policy advocacy, multi-sector collaborative efforts, and youth development. The last time I was here in the chambers, we were here advocating for a policy, the social host ordinance, which holds adults accountable for underage drinking occurring in their homes. Since then, we were able to educate the community a little bit more about the ordinance with a press release that, fortunately, we had Mr. Canepa join us in, as well as meetings with the neighborhood associations, the PTOs, and all the other events that we actually table in within the community. We actually also had a social host ordinance media campaign in the movie theater, the Daly City movie theaters, that was held for an 8-week period last holiday season. I actually have small clips, just 15 seconds. Let's take a look at it real quick. I didn't know there won't be any sound, but on the background is a voiceover of one of those fine young men who sounds like they're speaking in an ad, telling folks who are watching that there is a social host ordinance here in Daly City. Another way of us reaching out to the community in other forms that we don't within community events. Mr. Ngona was able to even provide us some feedback back then on reaching out to parents and neighborhood associations. We took that feedback and we were able to we actually want to focus a little bit of our efforts with parents. So with the parents, we conducted a parent survey. We collected 201 surveys from parents in both Daly City and Pacifica of those who are parents of children of middle school age or high school age. We asked several questions such as, do you think your child or children are using alcohol? On the right, you'll see the numbers and percentages of the responses. We also countered that with what they thought of other youth drinking alcohol in their community. On the right, the percentages and numbers. You'll see the no's of their own children being at 87%, but of other children, the yeses of 68%. So there's a lot of education we need to share awareness to, and this was also a part of our quantitative data. We wanted to follow that with some qualitative. So we were able to conduct some focus groups. We did 5 total, but in Daly City, we were able to conduct 3. One that focused on parents who identified with mixed ethnic background, one who identified with an Asian background, and one that is Spanish speaking. This way we can tailor to the different cultural and diverse community of Daly City. We had 18 parents total, and it kind of just piggybacked more on some of the information we got from our parent surveys. It was focused on understanding their perceptions of use and access of youth in the community related to alcohol and prescription drugs. We do a lot of work on alcohol, but we want to see a little bit more on prescription drugs. We hear a lot of new trends coming in, so this is our first set of assessments related to that. Because of that information, we don't like just gathering information and doing nothing with it. We actually plan to hold a family summit in February 2017 to share this information with the parents as well as the families, and also provide some resources related to some of the protective factors and risk factors that they actually mentioned in those parent focus groups and surveys. This way, again, there's some tangible event item that comes out of these types of information. But I am here today also to speak to you about the marijuana education campaign that we've been doing. We know that it's in the ballot this coming November for marijuana legalization of leisure use. And so we as a county have focused on our own way of prevention by understanding the community first with public opinion surveys. So as a county, we were able to collect close to around 4,000 surveys. Here in Daly City, about 360. To learn a little bit more about the public's perception on marijuana. There was questions on their familiarity with risk, whether or not it's harmful, their approval and disapproval of different items, as well as their agreement and disagreement on certain items as well. We were also able to do community presentations. So I was able to actually present to students at Thornton High School, our youth coalition, the teachers of the Jefferson Union High School District, and moving forward, we're hoping to do more with the teachers of the Jefferson Elementary School District as well. This way, we get in touch with those who are really in touch with the youth in our community, but also the parents. So we've been fortunate to be in touch with some parents as well due to the focus groups, and hopefully with this family summit, we get more information with them. I actually added a slide here on the increase of THC in the marijuana and cannabis. If you look at the bottom, it's a little unclear. It's identifying the years from 1960 to 2011 and the increase of THC. So THC is a psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. In our education, we are not lobbyists. We are preventionists and we are educators. So we just want to share some information to the public about the substance rather than swaying any type of position. In this case, one of our biggest focus also is to understand what type of substance it is now versus the type of substance many of them are familiar with in the 1960s and the hippie days. It's not the same. It's been extracted, the psychoactive ingredients of THC, which can be risen up to 33% now. So back then it was as low as 3%, now 33%, huge jump. It's just trying to give people a little bit more of information about what it looks like now, and giving them a little bit more background on how their decision-making process would be moving forward. As a county, there are some upcoming dates that I want to share with you as well. The San Mateo County Board of Supervisors will be holding a study session next Tuesday on October 18th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Located at the 400 County Center, Redwood City. This is related to marijuana, so it's learning a little bit more about the proposition, as well as a strategic planning meeting with the alcohol and other drug prevention team within the county. That'll be held the following day on Wednesday, October 19th. So I actually participated in their first meeting for the strategic planning, but that was a lot of providers, those who are already doing the work. For next Wednesday, it's really trying to gauge people of the community to share their thoughts, and this can help more a little bit on their strategies when we hear a little bit more from the community. So I tried to make that as quick as possible. I thought I had 10 minutes, I actually had 5. So if you guys have any questions, I'm open to it. I know many might be rushed, there's a Giants game, so.
Are there any questions? Yes, Mr. Gingona.
I don't have any questions. I'm just really impressed by the work that you've done. I think that the fact that you've really related all this work to specifically to our area, that was what I was really interested in. And I think that being able to do an empirical study where you really focus on this area really points out the needs. And I think that's the first step. You know, when we worked for the Asian American Recovery Service before, we did a program something like this where we taught high school students how to speak to elementary kids about the dangers of smoking. And I think that now that you're being able to put the word out on things like this, I think it's a great thing. And so if there's anything that we can do as a city to help out in getting that word out, please let us know.
We hope you guys can make it to that family summit.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I just have a question.
Yes.
And first of all, thank you for all the work. When we worked together on the social host ordinance and really putting that together, and making sure that our young people were
Safe.
protected. It really, I think, really made a huge mark in the city around alcohol. My issue, I guess, is around the edibles. So, you know, we've heard in the news recently that there are children, they go to different events, you know, maybe high school students, and they don't know that they're edibles. And so what they end up doing is they end up overdose. Something happens, you know,
Yeah.
they get sick, they're sent to the hospital. Do you think that when it comes to that, do you think you're going to focus on maybe outreach in that area in terms of edibles?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the THC is being extracted, and extraction is also known as shatter, wax, butter, all the different forms that can actually be included in the edibles. So when we think of edibles, let's say a cookie, for example, a serving size would be an eighth of it. Let's be real here. Who's going to eat an eighth of a cookie, especially someone who doesn't know serving size?
Yeah.
They'll eat a whole cookie, a gummy bear. Edibles come in forms where it's
Yeah.
tailored to youth who are interested in experimenting. And if there's a gummy bear and the serving size is just a leg of it, who's going to eat a leg of it? So a lot of people aren't really familiar with, you know, the edibles and serving size and whatnot, because in medicinal use, they're given serving sizes. But for other people who are just using it in a leisure use, they're not familiar with that. So this is why we're here. We want to share information regarding those types of concerns.
I would think that that serving size issue would be extremely important for adults who would be considering using it as well. I mean, if there's a cookie in front of me and I don't know what's in it, trust me, I'm going to have 5. That's how I got this way. So I think the message needs to be for the whole population. You know, if,
Don't eat 5.
yeah, you guys are slim. You'll be safe. But there's also the danger of definitely the true danger of people not knowing
Exactly.
that there's any kind of drug in it at all.
Yeah.
And the distribution of it within that edible
Yeah.
is also differing within in itself. So
Yeah, very dangerous.
yeah.
Well, great. Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much. I
okay?
appreciate being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a couple proclamations. We have Make a Difference Day. Is Leanne Young here?
Yes, she is.
All right, Leanne. Okay, great. So on October 22nd, we host Make a Difference Day. It's when people give back to their communities through volunteerism. I'm here tonight with Leanne Young from Southern Hills. So let me just read a couple whereas clauses on Make a Difference Day. It's October 22nd, 2016. Whereas it's essential to recognize the value and importance of volunteerism, which provides an opportunity for all members of the community to work together to achieve a common purpose and to celebrate and build community. Whereas on Saturday, October 22nd, 2016, volunteers from the community, local schools, churches, nonprofits, and businesses will sponsor or participate at 11 different sites across the community. I'm sure you're going to make some comments of where and when. So now, therefore, Mr. Torres isn't here, but the council is. We do hereby proclaim October 22nd, 2016 as Make a Difference Day. Congratulations, Leanne. Can you say a couple words? Let's do this first.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
So, thank you for the proclamation, and I just wanted to share that each year we've been involved with the Make a Difference Day, and it's became even more evident year after year that there's just a lot of litter being thrown out of cars and the local bus that rides up in our area. Like, people throw things out of their cars, and we have nothing but hillsides in Southern Hills, Daly City. So I started working with the Assistant City Manager, Julie, and I said, this is a major concern for our neighbors. And so we've been doing this now, I think it's the third year. And we meet at Panorama Elementary School up on Bellevue, the elementary school in the Southern Hills area. And we meet there at 9 o'clock, and we each take different streets in the neighborhood, and we focus on picking up all the litter and the bottles and cans and everything that you can think of. And in particular, what was impactful was a small group of our neighbors actually also cleaned up on the Panorama Elementary School grounds. And the unfortunate thing is, it's neighbors or people coming to our neighborhood with their dogs and letting the dogs actually poop on the campus and even throw the little poop bags on the campus. I think they collected over 150 poop bags last year. So that's a shame. And, you know, it says no dogs allowed. There are signs there in front of the school, but still people continue to do this, ignore the signs. So we work until 11:30, and then we trek on down here to City Hall for the celebratory lunch. But if anybody would like to join us, we have an RSVP. It's going to be to Elsa Ramos, one of our neighbors, who's been willing to take the reservations for me. And she said it was fine to publicize her number. So her number, everybody probably knows her number because she's been such a big community leader. It's 415-586-4571. And again, thank you for the city who puts this on every year for a Make a Difference Day. And come out and make a difference, everybody.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
415-586-4571.
Okay, great. Are there any, Ms. Christensen?
Is anyone going to talk about the other projects? Could you do that? Because for those who can't make it to the Southern Hills one, which we definitely encourage them to, but there are a number of projects to participate in,
There
correct?
are. You're right, Councilmember Christensen. We have, every year, we also have a cleanup at Top of the Hill, Mission Street. So please join us there. We're also implementing our Cities of Service grant, so our Project Green Space, where we're going to install a rain garden, also at that Top of the Hill at Bepler. And it's one of our municipal parking lots. You'll see a group organized there to really prep that site for a rain garden. So we need people who are physically able to do some digging and some gardening. We also have a big group who are meeting at Gellert Park and Ceremony Library and doing a cleanup there. And then we have our reuse event that's happening right across the street at 350 at our Community Service Center. So we have a number of projects. If you go to our website, dalycity.org/MDD, you will see our projects listed, and you'll see a form where you can register for the event. And also want to shout out, thank you for Daly City Host Lions for, again, every year coming through and providing lunch for all the volunteers.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So this month is Fire Prevention Month, and so we have Mr. Preston. See you, Clyde. Okay, so October 2016 is Fire Prevention Month. The City of Daly City, California, and North County Fire Authority are committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting Daly City, whereas half of home fire deaths result from fires reported at night between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. when most people are asleep. That's pretty interesting there. Whereas Daly City residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. Whereas the 2016 Fire Prevention Week theme, "Don't Wait, Check the Date." Come up with that? It's pretty good, pretty good. Effectively serves to remind us that we need working smoking alarms to give us the time to get out safely, whereas the City Council, the City of Daly City, do hereby proclaim October 2016 Fire Prevention Month. And so, before I give this proclamation, Clyde has worked, how long have you worked for the city now?
10 years.
10 years, and does a tremendous, tremendous job for us in the fire department. Thank you for your service, sir, and thank you for all you do. You work very hard, and we're proud of our fire department, and we're proud of the work you've done.
Thank you for having us and declaring October Fire Prevention Month. This is a very busy month for the fire department, in addition to all the other emergency calls and things we go on. Our firefighters are out in the community this month in a very special way. As in past years, we're out at all the elementary schools this month, talking with the children about the importance of fire safety and installing and maintaining smoke alarms in their homes. And this is really vital, especially at this age, to reach out to the children to help educate them. Because when we do that, they bring those messages home to the family and they make their homes safe. Also, this month, and this Saturday, I should say, we'll be having our annual fire service day open houses, and we'll have 3 fire stations opened here in Daly City. Our Ceremony Fire Station, our headquarters station on Geller and Wembley, will be open. The Station 95 on Lincoln and Edgemont, and also the Bayshore Station on Martin Street on the east side will be open. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And as well, because we are North County Fire, we are also going to have Station 81, which is our Brisbane Fire Station, will be open, as well as the Lindemar Fire Station 72 in Pacifica. That'll also be open. That's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday. So we invite everyone, the entire community, to come out and visit with us. We have a lot of great displays and demonstrations and things like that for the public.
Great. Are there any questions for Mr. Preston? Thank you very much. Please tell our firefighters and fire chief that we're extremely proud of the work they do in the city, and thank you, okay?
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
So, with that, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the exception of item 13, which Ms. Christensen asked to pull? Need a
So moved.
motion to accept the,
Yes, so move.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 13, it's authorizing the Daly City Public Library to participate in the annual Food for Fines program. Good evening, Shella.
Thank you. Thank you for looking at this. We are seeking authorization to participate again in this year's Food for Fines program. For those of you who are not familiar, Food for Fines is something that a number of the libraries in the Peninsula system participate in each year, which allows people to donate food to people in need, to the food banks, and have their late fines waived. So this accomplishes a number of really positive things for the community. It supports families that have food insecurity by providing them with food, and it helps library users who may find themselves buried under more late fines than they expected to get those waived and come back to using the library. It's been a really positive experience for the staff, for the public, and we're very much hoping that we'll be able to participate again this year. The neighboring libraries that participate would be South San Francisco, all of the San Mateo County libraries, which include our neighbors in Pacifica and Brisbane, Burlingame, San Mateo Public Library in the city of San Mateo, and Redwood City as well. So, are there any questions?
Ms. Christensen.
Yes. I want to encourage everyone to be part of this program, but I'm assuming even if I don't have fines, I can come to the library and contribute some food. Would that be
Absolutely.
possible?
It would indeed be possible.
Okay, so everybody, fines or not, come to your library, bring a bag of groceries. And thank you for announcing the details.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for all your wonderful work. It's a very enthusiastic crowd. A lot of claps going on. I like it. Item number 16, award of construction contract for the Callan
We need to vote
Boulevard.
Oh,
on
we
that
need to
item.
vote
We
on
need to
it.
vote on that item.
Oh, we do. Excuse
And
me.
I'd like to move that we
Sure.
authorize the Daly City Public Library to participate in the Food for Fines
Can
program.
I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Christensen?
Yes.
Mr. Gangona?
Yes.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Aye.
Mr. Canepa?
Aye, this is, resolution is adopted. Item number 16, award of construction contract for the Callan Boulevard, Ceremony Boulevard Traffic Signal Installation Project. Mrs. Chan. Good evening, Mrs. Chan.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. Staff is requesting approval of the contract for the Callan Boulevard, Ceremony Boulevard Traffic Signal Installation Project. Residents have long complained about the lack of a traffic signal at this intersection. Traffic levels have increased with the addition of Dick's Sporting Goods and Gellert Marketplace. The project will include a new traffic signal as well as updated curb ramps and crosswalks at the intersection. The engineer's estimate for the project was $404,000. On September 14th, we received 6 bids for the project, ranging from a low of approximately $384,000 to a high of approximately $460,000. We are requesting that the City Council accept all bids received and award a construction contract to Columbia Electric in the amount of $383,232.70. The full cost of the project with contingency and administration costs is $456,000 and is available in the project account. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. It does say here in the report that they have performed satisfactory work for other public agencies. Have they done any work for us before? Or will this be their first time?
No, they've done other work in the past, and they're
Uh-huh.
actually the contractor working on for the traffic signal portion of the John Daly Streetscape Improvements Project.
Excellent.
Any other, Mr. Gangona, any questions?
Move the contract.
No.
All right, so we have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second,
Roll call, please.
Ms. Christensen?
yes.
Mr. Gangona?
Yes.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Aye.
And Mr. Canepa left the room. All right.
Tonight.
Is that right? Okay.
Okay. So we're on to public appearances, oral communication. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes unless modified by the mayor, in this case, the vice mayor. The council cannot take action on any matters raised under this item. Paul Peoples?
Can I defer to Malou?
Sure.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Malou Rivera Peoples, and I am the Artistic Director and owner of Westlake School for the Performing Arts, also known as WSPA. The presence of the community and myself in tonight's meeting is a reaction to the conversation I had with the city manager, Pat Martell, on September 2. During this phone call, Ms. Martell informed me of the possible sale of the property to a housing developer. She said there are no plans to relocate WSPA and that there is no budget to sustain a performing arts center. Ms. Martell also said that the property is not zoned for business use and we cannot stay. In fact, the property is classified as unzoned, the same as government property and schools. WSPA is truly a valuable asset to the community. It has provided a safe haven for our youth to nurture their passion for the last 25 years. WSPA proudly represents our community with over 2,500 honors and accolades and awards earned by our students who came from and reside in our Daly City community. The members of our community are instrumental to these successes, especially the governing members of Daly City, the officials that residents of our community have elected to represent our interests. It is because of your support that WSPA has become a leading center for the performing arts in Northern California. For more than 25 years, Daly City and WSPA have been partners in grooming our community's children to become talented and productive citizens. The news that WSPA will be shut down because Daly City wants to sell the property causes one to question what the community needs really are. Have the values of Daly City changed? have good order, discipline, hard work, and perseverance fostered by WSPA diminished in value in Daly City? Where will Daly City's community go to develop their performing talents? WSPA is the only performing arts center in Daly City. Its scope, longevity, and quality of instruction are unparalleled and unmatched in the entire Bay Area.
Thank
May
you
I
very much.
continue?
Thank you very much, okay? Jessica Angeles?
Fill out an-
After she's done, okay? Thank you.
and
Good evening, Council. I come here on behalf of all the students, faculty, and members of WSPA and ask you to reconsider displacing our beloved school. 25 years ago, I was one of the first students to walk through the doors of WSPA. After trying other summer camps and rec programs, WSPA provided me with a place that not only nourished the young artist in me, but provided me with a safe haven in which I could make lifelong friends, cultivate family-like relationships, and develop the skills I would later need as a working professional. After attending Holy Angels School and SI, and later graduating with an education and dance bachelor's degree from Santa Clara, WSPA helped me to find what it was in life that I was called to do, marrying the joy I found in teaching children and my own love and passion for dance. Dance and performing not only give children something to do, but it helps to develop their self-esteem, helps them to find their own voice and identity, allows them to explore their self-awareness, teaches them accountability and dedication, in addition to teaching discipline, problem-solving skills, and how to work as a team. Alumni of WSPA, like myself, have gone not only to become professional dancers, but also accountants, working professionals, nurses, teachers, realtors, and successful small business owners themselves. Throughout its 25 years, WSPA has not only provided dance education and training, but it has also given students a true sense of belonging and family. We all share families, weddings, birthdays, the birth of our children, and all sorts of different milestones. We have grown together, and the true love and appreciation for the school is so apparent. Just look at the over 6,500 signatures on the petition to save WSPA. Many members of my own family have attended WSPA in the last 25 years. Just this past September, my own 3-year-old daughter started her own dance journey. We drop her off every Saturday morning with no problem because she simply loves to dance. She smiles when she sees her accomplishments, no matter how small. The unadulterated joy and love for dance that I see in her is so apparent. When she rushes home and teaches her stuffed animals every Saturday, all the things she has learned in class that day. If it's not WSPA, where can my daughter find the same joy in a place that provides not only loving and nurturing dance education, but also allows her to move on to a caliber of training beyond so many and be able to perform in such productions like the Nutcracker at the Palace of Fine Art?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Buenaventura?
Could we, because I know there's a lot of anxiety in this room about what's happening to WSPA, could we get an update from Ms. Martell about the scheduling and what we're supposed to be doing as far as the study session goes?
So, yes, thank you for the opportunity to respond to this, because there seems to be a very clear misunderstanding about a conversation I had with Mrs. Peoples, and that I have subsequently, as recently as today, when I was interviewed for a video magazine about displacing the Westlake School for Performing Arts. And during that interview, I made it very clear that at no time did I ever convey to Mrs. Peoples that the city was selling the property to build condos and displacing the Westlake School for Performing Arts. In fact, what I did say to Mrs. Peoples when she called and inquired about the potential sale of the site was that it was looked at as part of our budget process, because we have a very serious financial problem here in Daly City. We have a structural budget deficit of $6 million. And so the property, the Olympic School, is only one asset that is owned by the city of Daly City, which means properties like where City Hall is, that's an asset. But we also have vacant parcels throughout the city. We're looking at all of the city's assets to determine whether or not there is a continued need to maintain those assets, or whether there's a possibility that we might sell them off for another purpose. So the Olympic School property is just one of several that are being looked at. As part of the process, before we come to the council, we're gathering information. So we're going to do appraisals. We have hired a company to do an assessment of the property to determine what exactly it's going to cost us, because we have an estimate right now that the Westlake, the Olympic school site where the Westlake School of Performing Arts is, that is not the only activity at that location. We have a Tiny Tot program, we have music art, we have another lessee. There are other activities other than Westlake School for Performing Arts. But the facility, that particular location that has a facility on it, it's an obsolete building. That building was built over 50 years ago. It was a school originally. It was then, when it was surplused and there was no need for an elementary school in that neighborhood, the property was deeded to the city. But there was a requirement that we
Ms. Martell,
maintain.
who deeded the property to the city?
The Dolger Trust,
So so it was a Dole, what year was that? It was like,
27
27
years ago, something like
so they
that.
deeded, okay.
But the school had already been in use for many years. That's why when I say it's an obsolete building, the school had been used for many, many years before it was actually transferred to the city, and that was about 27 years ago.
Was there a condition about the deeding the property to the city?
Yes. So there was a condition that for a period of 25 years, that the property be maintained for a use similar to what continues today, which is for the arts. So that's why it's not just Westlake School for Performing Arts, it's other arts activities and music activities. And except for our Tiny Tot program, that's pretty much the only use that we've maintained at that site. However, today we are facing capital improvements for that building, which has essentially outlived its useful life, and it's pretty obsolete. Of what we estimate to be about $500,000, which are funds that the city really doesn't have to basically pour into a facility that's already obsolete. So that's the rationale that we began to look at that asset along with other assets. So we've done an appraisal, and we've looked at what the possible options are for the site, and there are limitations because it is in a residential neighborhood. So it's not like we could build an office building where we could bring in, companies with jobs and that kind of thing. There are very big limitations in a residential neighborhood. So housing would probably be primary among the options that the council, not me, but the council would consider when we look at that particular asset. I know that there has been some discussion about us building condos there. That was never indicated in my conversation with Mrs. Peoples, because even if the city council were to agree that we would sell that asset, which they've made no such decision because they haven't even discussed it at this point in time. But if that decision ultimately came to pass, it would be for single-family homes, because the entire area is single-family homes. So we wouldn't be building anything else. But whether we sell the property and build anything other than what's on there right now remains in question. Okay. Now, what Mrs. Peoples asked me at the time that we had the conversation was, would she be able to purchase the site? And I said, well, if the council decided they were going to sell it, you could potentially purchase it, but you'd have to pay whatever the fair market value of the property is. We can't give a gift of public funds and sell it for less than the value of that property. And if you did, I said to her, you would not be able to build a commercial building on it. So in other words, you couldn't eliminate the school and build a new building where you could have the Westlake School for Performing Arts, because that's not consistent with the zoning there. It would have to be residential. The other option would be to keep the building as it is. Yep. And the council could decide at a future date, when we actually consider this idea of doing something with that property, the council could decide to do nothing, yep, which means that it would remain in place. Now, if that occurs at the time, then we will have to be talking to the council about how we propose to make the capital improvements, because it's going to need a new roof, it needs new internal systems, it needs a lot of improvements to make it a viable building once again.
Ms. Martell, quick question for you.
Yes.
How many of these properties do we have?
Well, what do you mean, these properties?
You've talked about these properties, you talked about our structural deficit, but how many properties such as where the Westlake School of Performing Arts is? We have, because the last time I checked, there's about How many properties are there total?
Okay, so let me explain. There are different properties. So
Different kinds.
properties that the city has owned for a long time include properties in the Bayshore neighborhood, the former Station 93 fire station. We built a new fire station, so we have property on Geneva that the
But
original
what's the
fire
total?
station-
You must know the total.
Um,
It's over 10.
Is it,
It's probably over
that-
10, but
yeah.
some of them are former redevelopment properties, which
Yeah.
at this point
Present
in
time.
time, we don't control,
Yeah.
at this point in time. So some of them we do, some of them we don't.
Got it.
Some of them have buildings on them, some of them don't. Some of them have already been entitled for future development, like the hotel site and the office building site on Junipero Serra. So all of the different assets are in different states of what potentially could be marketability for us to sell them. So the question was asked of me today, if that property, the Westlake School for Performing Arts, or any of the city's assets that we consider at some point in time, and we haven't determined yet, but when we come to the council, we will have a list for them of what we consider to be potentially surplus property that the city could sell. I was asked, what would the proceeds for that be used for? And I indicated that those, whatever the proceeds from a sale of property, it would go into our general fund reserve, and it would replenish the reserves that we have used to balance the budget over the last few years. So it would go into general government operations here for the city. That's the only thing that we would use the proceeds for. But at this point in time, and I emphasized it. I've been approached twice now. KTVU
Yeah.
called me and interviewed me, and I told them the same thing. There is no proposal on the table at the present time to do anything with that property. So the petition that was started, the letters that we're getting, the TV, the news reports that are being provided is all very premature, because this is an issue that has never even come before the council for any consideration. So therefore, there can be no decision about what that property is going to be used for. And I could have never conveyed to Mrs. Peoples or anyone else that we were selling it for anything, because I've never received direction from the council about what we're going to do,
Thank you.
or
Thank
if
you.
we'll do anything.
Well,
Thank you, Ms. Martell. Mr. Bonaventura?
what is I thought that there was going to be a study session you were going to bring before
There is.
us.
So we are going to have, and I was going to get to that.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
we're going to have a study session, and as part of the study session, we will be looking at that particular location and several other sites that potentially we would market that are available that might be surplus. In addition, at that study session, specific to the Olympic School site, which is where Westlake School for Performing Arts is, what we will be looking at are the capital needs. So we have a consultant analyzing all the systems there, everything that needs to be replaced, how soon it'll need to be replaced, and what the potential cost will be, so that the council will see what we're looking at in terms of investment that has to be made at that location to continue to operate it as a viable leasable space. So at that point in time, what the council will also have to consider is whether or not it's appropriate for us to leave the building as is, determine how we're going to pay for those improvements, and then we'll have to look at the lease that we currently have with Westlake School for Performing Arts and all of the lessees, and determine how we're going to increase the rent in order to help offset the investment that we have to make in that particular facility. And right now, the Westlake School for Performing Arts and all of the other activities there, they do not pay market rent. So the city is subsidizing that activity. And because the Westlake School for Performing Arts is not a nonprofit, it's a for-profit business. We cannot continue to lease that space unless we charge market rent for it. And however that turns out, based on what kind of investment we have to make in the future, that's direction I will receive to the council when we have that conversation.
Thank you, Ms. Martell. You know, let me just say this. I'm opposed to selling this property. And I know we have to go through the process, and let me tell you why. The displacement of our artists, the displacement of young people, and what the Westlake Performing Arts means to the community vastly outweighs a financial number. And so I'm looking forward to the study session. I know how many, I pretty much have a good sense of how many properties we have out there. But to sort of say, and I found this out not through staff, I ended up finding this out through neighbors.
list of-
And so I'll be very, very clear. I will not support the sale of a property for a community that gets so many benefits, whether it's through our art, whether it's through mentorship. To me, that's not right. And so I'm going to fight this. I'm going to work with hopefully some of my colleagues. And so I just want you to know I'm going on record, and we're not going to support this. I'm not going to support this. Mr. Buenaventura.
So,
I've had my hand up over here.
I actually think it was good the way you have voiced yourselves and you have expressed your concerns, and you've done it right now. I mean, I'm applauding the fact that you didn't wait, because these things have a way of starting and start rolling, and if you're not there from the beginning, you don't know where this is going to end up. So I applaud you all for coming here and voicing your opinions and talking to the neighborhoods, to the community, talking to the people that are affected by this, and you should participate. This is your community. This is your school.
Ms. Christensen.
Democracy in action. Many a night I've been on that side expressing my feelings. One of the things I think is real important is that we know when the redevelopment properties will be available as well. I mean, when will we have control over those properties? Do we have any estimated time?
We're hoping by the end of the year or the
Okay.
first of the year.
Because it makes sense that we look at all those properties together, because if somebody wants, you know, you're looking at, if you're just looking at several of them, it might come up with a different decision than if you're looking at 8 or 9 or 10 properties in terms of gaining some money for the city, but also in getting rid of some of the surplus property. The conversation is a little more sophisticated if we've got more properties to deal with. So after the first of the year is when that'll probably
Right.
happen.
Well, those properties will have to be dealt with separately
Yes.
because the taxing entities that we have to share the proceeds on those redevelopment properties make that process somewhat different than properties like the Westlake, the Olympic school site, and some of the properties we own out in the Bay Shore that we owned in advance of redevelopment. So
Hey, thank you for that update.
Sure.
Mr. Gingona.
You know, I've been on that side of an argument before, and let me just say this, that we watched as Westmore dropped their football program many years ago. I was one of the last wrestling coaches at Westmore High School. The year that I stopped, 87, 88, they dropped the program in 89. And I stood up in front of the school board and I told them that if you take this program away, it'll never come back. And they said, no, it's only $27,000. We'll look at this every year, and every year we'll make an assessment to see whether it's going to come back. Well, it left at Westmore. It left at Jefferson. Nobody wrestles in Daly City. Now, I know it's a different thing with Westlake School of Performing Arts, but I will tell you that when an activity like that dies in a city, the city is that much less rich. And so let me just say that before we do anything to change the fabric of the city, I'm going to look long and hard into ways that we can collaborate to make this work. Again, we're pretty premature, but I do like the fact, and I commend you, because I think back to those days that if we would have just started earlier on a different funding mechanism and a different way to engage the community in this idea that it is important, and once you lose it, it's gone. I mean, they kept telling us it's going to come back. You're going to be able to. the financial situation would get better. So, you know, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're making this known to us, and the fact that there's an early dialogue is something that I think that you should be commended on. So, keep up the good work.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to 2 minutes, okay? Mr. Peoples.
I can do that.
For you, maybe 1:30. No. Mr. Peoples, go ahead, please.
Thank you, and thank you for the kind words. We asked the community what they thought about the Dolger Arts Center. One of our parents started a petition on change.org, and within the first 24 hours, we had over 2,000 signatures. In the first week, over 6,000 signatures. Signatories had the option to leave a comment. These are just some of the comments that they left.
Do you want to submit those?
No, actually, I've got the webpage
Okay.
inside of these books, and you can check it yourself.
Got it.
6 copies of this just wasn't practical. In the next few months, the City Council and the Planning Department will be asked to decide the fate of the Dolger Arts Center. Please consider what this community will lose with the sale of this property. It seems like you already have considered it. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to speak on behalf of WSPA, on behalf of the 15,000 students and their families that we've had, and on behalf of all the performing artists in Daly City. And I'd like to give you a copy of our yearbook. Inside the front page is the petition and the website if you would like to go online and look at the comments. I thought we would save a tree and not print this for everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peoples. Rodney Martinez. Rodney.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Can I start?
I'll let him know.
Mr. Martinez, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rodney Martinez, and I'm a 17-year-old senior at Archbishop Reardon High School and a lifelong resident of Daly City. I take pride in my community and thankful to have been raised in a friendly and close-knit section of Westlake. Some of my favorite memories living here have included our community community block parties, celebrating New Year's Eve every year with a family down the street, and Christmas caroling door to door. In my spare time, I enjoy volunteering, which includes my duties as a youth commissioner for San Mateo County, volunteering at UCSF Medical Center, and working with youth at WSPA's musical theater camp each year. Throughout the years, I played every sport from soccer to baseball to golf. They were all fun times, but the most significant memories were at WSPA. This is one program that has kept me interested from my debut performance as a naughty boy in the Nutcracker at age 5 to recent major roles such as in Beauty and the Beast, The Beast. I've taken classes in ballet, Russian dance, hip-hop, Tahitian drumming, tumbling, musical theater, and private voice lessons. For the last few years, I had the honor of conducting the youth choir at the Nutcracker, held at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. One of my fondest memories, though, was singing at Carnegie Hall in New York last year and watching Aladdin on Broadway with the theater group. Upon hearing that the land may be sold from under that amazing school prompted me to reflect and write this letter. For that child who needs a place to hone their skills after school, for that child who aspires to be all that they dream to be, for that creative child who craves music, art, dance, drama, and friendships with those who share the same interests, for the shy child who blossoms on stage and realizes their being is celebrated and appreciated. Please, I ask you to take those children, like myself, into consideration when weighing out the pros and cons of this idea. 25 years and thousands of children who have benefited from this unique and special hub in our community. The value of that simply cannot be measured in dollars that will soon disappear. Thank you for your time.
Well said, Mr. Martinez. Ashley Triunfo? Ashley. Is there Ashley?
Oh.
Good evening, Ashley.
Good evening, councilmen, parents, and parents. My name is Ashley Triunfo, and I am 10 years old. I began dancing at Westlake School for the Performing Arts at the age of 4. I knew that I wanted to be a dancer at an early age, so when my parents asked me if they can sign me up for a ballet and tap class, I screamed for joy and said yes. And for 6 years now, I have been happily doing what I love. Westlake School for the Performing Arts, or WSPA for short, is like a second home. not only to me, but to a majority of students that go there. I look forward to seeing not only my friends, but also my teachers who have taught me throughout the years how to express my thoughts and feelings through dance. Even when I'm having a bad day, as soon as I step into dance class, I am in my happy place. Because of WSPA, I am more confident and healthy. Also, this past summer, my friends and I got the opportunity to compete in New York City against some of the greatest dancers in the country. Without WSPA, there wouldn't be any dance competitions, Nutcracker season, and there wouldn't be a Miss Tina who cares about each and every kid like we're her own child. So please, do the right thing and don't close down my dance school. Thank you.
Jocelyn Manalo. Ms. Manalo, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Vice Mayor David Canepa and all the council members. My name is Jocelyn Manalo, and I've been a resident here in Daly City ever since the age of 8. And I'm here in support of WSPA. As you've heard from such a gracious young child of a passion for dance, and also the leaders of this organization. WSPA is an institution that has been a gem for young people, and I've seen the amazing and dedicated passion that these children and young people have for dance. And as a community member, I hope that the City Council would see WSPA as an asset and work with the community presented here and for all of those that they present.
Thank you. Glenn Sylvester. Mr. Sylvester.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Canepa and the honorable council members. I guess most of the questions have already been answered. And I'd like to thank Ms. Pat Martell, because I did have a few checkoff points that I wanted to find out more about, but most of it has been answered, and I say thank you. What I did do is I did see that the city owns the property, and I ran up the tax rolls. And 2 years ago, based upon the assessed value, it was worth $85,411. Last year, based upon the taxes paid, it went up to $264. And this year, when taxes were paid, it's $181,748. So it's just only an FYI. I've been to WSPA. I know about them, and thanks to the gentleman who talked about the Hawaiian dancing, I wish I would have taken Hawaiian dancing when I used to do it. But okay, that's a secret. You're not supposed to put that out. I've been there. They are focused on education. I see the kids sitting there, and they do their homework. I know kids travel for a long distance, as much as 2 hours to come there. And I saw a steamy room, and I asked, what's that? I walked inside, they working very, very hard, and I couldn't see through the windows. So basically, I'd like to thank all of council, because I can feel something that I've gotten from you, and that is to consider possible alternatives. And I guess that is what they want. So let's just not let them go, but think of all the alternatives, and let's try to keep the community happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sylvester. Gabriella Maxman. Ms. Maxman, good evening.
Hi, my name is Gabriella Maxman, and I am here also in support of WSPA. My daughter went to the school, and I'm here also representing a number of families from Hilldale School here in Daly City whose kids attend this school as well. It's very nice to know that the council is in support of supporting the school and making sure that it continues to support our community and the arts in Daly City. And that is very important to my family. In addition to that, I have some other things that I'd like to mention. I recently spoke with Simon Clark from CBRE. He is the top leasing agent in Daly City. Yep. And there's a very large company that wants to rent 60,000 square feet in DC Station, which is currently standing empty. And he had said that he has not been able to get a hold of anyone on the city council to go and talk to this very large world-known company that wants to rent this space. So I would ask that somebody please reach out to Mr. Clark and put yourselves in front of this company so that we can get that building leased.
Is the company you're referring to, just so I know, because Mr. Buenaventura and I have been engaged, are you talking about ABS CBN?
No.
Okay.
So I know that they've already leased the
Yeah.
space, but there's a large retailer
Okay.
that wants to have their corporate headquarters
Yeah.
there, that he's been courting for a while, and
Sure.
they would like to,
What's the retailer?
I don't know if it's public information.
Sure. Can you
So-
talk with our staff, and then what I'll do is I'll get back, I'll get directly, one of us, I'll get back
Sure, can
personally
I
to
have
them.
my 2 minutes,
Yeah,
please? Sorry,
yeah,
'cause
sure.
This is about to be, if you're interrupting me.
Sure.
Sorry.
I'll give you 10 more seconds. Go ahead.
One other thing I'd like to mention is that Daniel Leader at Steak and Shake is getting
Yeah.
the shakedown from the building department, and it's preventing him from opening on time. So if you can please talk to someone in the building department so that he is not nickel and dime, because we're getting a really bad reputation in the business community.
Okay, let me do this. I'm going to direct you, Ms. Maxman?
Yes?
I'm not done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you talk with Ms. Martell about that after. Ms. Martell, you can talk. with-
Mr. Vice Mayor, I was out at Steak and Shake today
Mhm.
and looked at the issue, and I've resolved it.
Okay.
It's no problem.
Great. Good to hear.
Ms. Christensen?
I know that Mr. Leader had to have lunch with Ms. Martell in order to make that happen.
The city council sets policy for the city. We don't negotiate with people who are renting buildings. So it's the staff who does that.
That's fine.
And in fact, it's not appropriate for us to do that. We can be cheerleaders and we can be enthusiastically supporters, but we don't.
Well,
feel-
since the city council does run the staff in the city, can the city council
No, we actually
stand-
don't.
According to the org charts.
No,
The
we
city
set-
manager reports to the city council, and then the staff report up to the city manager.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Ms. Marksman, thank you.
May I know how this
Thank you. I'm really messing up today. I'm sorry, Ms. Maxman, okay? Thank you. I think this one I can do. Mia Fuerte. Ms. Fuerte.
Good evening. My name is Mia Fuerte, and I'm a 14-year-old freshman at St. Ignatius. I have been a Daly City resident since I was 2 years old, and I am a proud dancer at WSPA. WSPA is an extension of my home, and I don't want to see it go. It's a safe haven for me where I get excellent training. There isn't any other place like it in the Daly City area. Its reputation speaks for itself, and it has placed our city on the map for dance and the arts. I have been a student at WSPA since I was 4 years old, and its nurturing environment has helped me stay out of trouble. After school, I don't hang out at the mall, and I don't sit at home playing video games. Instead, I dance. Growing up at WSPA taught me life skills that have guided me through every aspect of my young life, skills such as time and stress management. I know selling the property will give the city profit, but is money really more important to the city than dance? Dance is my passion. It's what I look forward to every single day. Is money more important than passion? As you think about what you want to do with the future of WSPA, think about your own passions. Think about that one special thing that you have in your life that you can rely on when you're having a bad day. That thing that you love so much that you'll spend hours every day practicing it. That thing that makes you, you. Would you want to give that up for money? Yes, WSPA's value is not in profit. Its value is in the passion that it gives to young people like me. Young people who have been trained to value hard work, commitment, discipline, and dedication. Young people who would make great contributors to the society. Young people who love WSPA. So please keep WSPA in Daly City. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you. This is just a side note. The students are very well spoken. Thank you for your comments. I want to say Miss Rivera Pagales. Did I get that right? Rivera Pagales. Okay. Dan Knutson? Mr. Knutson?
Good evening. Thank you for letting me have some of your time. My name is Dan Knutson. I'm a resident in Daly City, and I've been involved with the Westlake School for the Performing Arts for the past 25 plus years. My daughter was one of the very first students there, so I'm a parent. I've had 2 daughters go through the school. They've learned so much out of it. But I've also been a volunteer since the very beginning. I've helped build sets. I worked backstage at all their shows. I'm involved in pretty much all the performing aspects of the school. And it's become not just a performing arts school, it's a family. Everyone there works together to make the shows work. The school works together to make sure the students learn everything. In the 5th year of the school, I actually became a student. And I've been dancing tap, hip hop, I do hula, and yes, it is fun. I still dance. I'm also part of the Nutcracker. I play Drosselmeyer.
Oh, yes.
But I do appreciate your support for the school, and I do hope that everything works towards keeping the school where we are. And I'm sure we can work together with you to help improve the school if need be.
Well said. Thank you. Who knows a little bit about dancing, Marie Brizuela. For those of you who know, Marie had a dance school for many, many years.
13 years.
13 years, I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to speak, but I had to come and speak. I've known Malou for a long time. And in fact, I opened my studio, and some of her students, in fact, first I want to say, at the shopping center where I had my studio, they decided they were going to remodel. And they didn't want a dance school because, you can't get that much money out of a dance school. So we had to leave, and we had to go to another place that was horrible, and that was the end of our dancing. We had kids crying. We had all kinds of stuff happening. And so at that time, it was an opportunity because 2 of my daughters taught, and one of them got to go to SI. So we got to get some of your students when they would come because they danced at school for a grade. So that was wonderful, and we saw how wonderful Malou taught and how well the students they learned so well. So I just want to say that, Henry, I knew about the sale of the property. I've been on the school board for longer than I want to admit. But when that school was going to be ready to sell, they was going to build a church. And all of the people around said, no, 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 no. And somehow they decided to make it an art center, and Mrs. Dolger is the one that paid for it.
Huh.
You got to imagine that Dolger gave the property every time they built the houses. There was a piece of property for a school.
Huh.
So she goes and she paid for it, and then gave it as a gift to the city of Daly City. I would say in her memory, because she's not alive, and I know she probably thought 25 years was a long time, but obviously it's not. So if there's some way that something can be done so that the children can have a place to go. If not, if there's another place that you can find for them. But just don't close it, because I had maybe about 150 students, and they were disappointed. And you're going to have a lot more students really disappointed, and families as well. So.
Thank you, Ms. Brizuela. Aminan Daus. Ariana? Amiana. Where is Amiana? Oh, hi, Amiana. Did someone help Amiana? Okay.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Amiana Dallas Magbal, and I am 8 years old. I was born in Seated Medical Center and raised in Daly City my whole life. I am a student at the Westlake School of Performing Arts. I come to you today to tell you why we should keep WSPA in Daly City. I have been singing and dancing with WSPA since the age of 3. I am currently a student in musical theater, ballet, and lyrical performance programs. I have 3 reasons why WSPA is important for our community and me. The first reason is that WSPA is in a nice and safe neighborhood. WSPA is located in a place where there are no speedy cars, busy intersections, and it has a big parking lot for all the parents and students. When you are a dancer, you often have to come from school to dance class, and in between, we are in our cars changing, eating a meal, or finishing our homework. The second reason is that WSPA offers many different classes. It allows us to try different things and find things that are unique to each person. I love singing, acting, and dancing, and I am able to find my potential in all of these activities. I have traveled to New York to see my first Broadway show, but also to sing at Carnegie Hall with my musical theater family. I also have traveled locally to compete for ballet and to sing in Hollywood. I learned not to have fear, but to have courage to perform in front of thousands of people. The third reason is that a lot of people have good memories and they are happy here at WSPA. I am part of a long legacy of performers, and not only does this help us see our potential, but it creates a strong community of young people, especially here in Daly City. Save the arts in Daly City. Us kids need a positive place to grow and learn. Thank you.
Thank you. So folks, we're moving on. We're in oral communication. It looks like all the WSPA cards are through. I don't know if there's, do we have any, is there an extra card on this subject? Oh. Pamela Di Giovanni.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Council members. I'm here tonight to tell you that I've actually had the pleasure of being at 2 of the performances over the last 2 years of the Nutcracker, and I was blown away from someone that came from the East Coast and has experienced things in New York and Washington, D.C., and some prominent dancing, and got to know Malou and her friends and the wonderful children there. I'm in support of the WSPA and our cultural, and I think it's a great foundation to start, and then I think Malou would agree, and the community could come together now that we have a culturals commission, and we can use it as a foundation and make it for everyone in our community. Like, this could be the door that opens up something in Daly City, so we could be known more than the gateway. We can be actually the destination for the cultural in Daly City. Doesn't have to be San Francisco, doesn't have to be New York, doesn't have to be the caliber, but it can be here for our community and for WSPA. And we welcome all of them here, and they brought such beauty and artwork that this cannot disappear. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We're gonna move on. Sign Thompson, 36 Franciscan Drive. Sin?
Ooh, don't tell people's addresses on the TV.
Okay.
It's not appropriate.
Sorry, Ms. Thompson. Thank you.
And it's sin.
Sin.
It's hard to pronounce.
Sin. Thank you, Sin. I'm sorry about that.
Sin of mortal sin and venial sin.
Okay. Sounds good.
My name is Sin Thompson, and I am from the Franciscan, and I know you all know me. As you all are well aware, the Franciscan residents were promised a second study session by Mayor Torres with RSG, the council members, Link, and the residents to discuss RSG's claims that their audits of the Franciscan Managing Company and Link were in compliance. Again, despite phone calls, emails, we to date have not received any communication regarding a date for this second session. I consider this very inappropriate and very unprofessional. We have come to you openly and honestly with our concerns, but it is clear our concerns have no meaning to you. The answer is always, we'll get back to you. We will not give up. We have families in 501 homes that we care about and are living in mismanaged environment. We care about them. Please give us the second study session dates tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sin. Ms. Martell, I know at the last meeting, we had talked about scheduling a date. Can you just give us an approximate time when it's going to be scheduled?
We have a couple of items that we've been working on, but the city attorney has advised me that we need to have the study session before the 24th regarding the Franciscan, because there's going to be action that the council's going to be taking at that meeting. We tried to combine them because it's so difficult at times to get everyone's schedule together, and I didn't want to have multiple meetings for several different items that we have for the study session. So we're still trying to find a date. And hopefully it'll be before the 24th.
So we're talking within the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure when we do schedule this, and of course we would, because.
It would be posted.
Would 72 hours?
Everyone would know the
Got it.
date. That's
Great.
the way we always do things for study sessions.
Great. And is there any way to reach out directly to people at the Franciscan, just in case they can't find it online? I'm sure staff will reach out.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Martell. Bob Quinn? Good evening, Mr. Quinn.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Bob Quinn. I'm from the Franciscan Mobile Home Park. And I'm still talking about the 18 homes that are on the protected
Bob,
sites.
can you stand a little closer
Okay.
so the people at home can hear you?
Is this thing working? Hello?
Oh, yeah, it's working.
So anyway, these 18 homes that have 18 sites that are protected sites have new homes on them. And according to the theory, it's supposed to float around. Well, these 18 sites need to be assigned to 18 people on the brown bag program through Taglia who have already been designated as low-income persons by the federal government. So there's no reason why these 18 sites couldn't be assigned to 18 low-income residents. I have the list. I have 38 or 40 low-income residents verified by the federal government that these sites could be assigned to. But the bigger problem is that they're not doing getting the benefit of the reduced rent, because the city is still using, or whoever's still using, the wrong formulary and the wrong index. In the regulatory agreement, it sets forth exactly what it's supposed to be, and that's not what's being done. So they have all these nice big homes where people used to be that had no money, and now they even have the office and the clubhouse listed as a low-income site. So I wonder who drew this map up and gave it to the federal government and the IRS. They should be investigated, but there's a lot of problems up here. We've been promised a lot of resolution, and we've gotten nothing. And you're out of compliance. Everybody's out of compliance. I don't know how Mayor Torres can say that he's in compliance, because he's not. You're absolutely not in compliance, and this proves it right here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Mark Roy. Mr. Roy.
Good evening, Vice Mayor.
Hey, Mr. Roy, how are you?
Franciscan Mobile Home, low-income, Mayor Torres' statement claiming the city is in 100% compliance is an absolute ridiculous statement to make. As for my wife, as well as for her mom and dad that have lived there since 1979, have not ever received, now or then, a reduced rent and enjoyed the benefits of the low income promised by the regulatory agreement of the $53 million federal tax dollar bond issued that was given to Hunter Johnson. We fill out a yearly income on the housing. Switch. The tax form that Hunter Johnson uses to receive tax breaks for himself, but not for its intent, for the low-income tenants of the Franciscan Mobile Park. I am, as my mother and father-in-law are on the low-income dedicated spaces, yet have never received it and pay the same rent as non-income, low-income rent tenants. My mother and father-in-law are on federal food programs and still do not receive reduced rents as promised. Pat Martell, with all due respect, last meeting you had promised to commit to a study date, and as you said, within the next 2 weeks. and we hope that you will honor your promise to commit and give us a study date and commit to doing something about this for the low-income tenants that we were told we were given.
Great. Thank you very much, okay? Thank you. Bill Stepinovich. Mr. Stepinovich.
As many of the audience here can see, we get this every November to turn in our forms, expecting that the park will get a tax exemption and we will provide our income that will help set the low-income housing program that has never been instituted. The city has designated Rosnov Spavlicek Group Incorporated as a third party. And every time that we have asked, we are in 100% compliance. What is interesting is that soon after, in 2002, when the city issued its 2003 to 2008 city report, and the Franciscan Park was listed as apartments. So on our July 25th, during the city council reports, the Mayor Torres said that the park was in compliance based on the documents that this committee of Mayor Torres and council member Judith Christensen reviewed, and that it included the living requirements of Marin, San Francisco, and San Mateo. Need to remind this council, this is an owner-occupied mobile home park. We're not apartments, so and hopefully that the residents look forward to a study session which RSG can justify how they come at this. It's very interesting is that RSG is well known around the state. It was last year that they were involved in an FBI investigation in which FBI raided the Palm Springs mayor office in his home, and also their offices in Santa Ana because they altered documents.
Thank you, Mr. Stepinovich.
Thank you, Bill.
Mary Ann Mann. Mary Ann Mann.
Not Marion Man.
Hi, Miss Mann.
Good evening, Council. This is all new to me, so bear with me. Recently, a resident was installing a shed in the rear of his mobile home, and a city inspector appeared, citing the shed was not in compliance and needed to be removed. All residents are entitled to add storage, a unit or shed, so long as it meets the space specifications outlined in the Mobile Home Park Title 25. I'm curious as to how an inspector shows up for a single shed when the rest of the park is not inspected for compliance. None of the new homes replacing older homes are inspected, although they exceed the standards outlined in Chapter 1720.050. Numerous violations of the California regulations and HUD codes are blatantly ignored, including residents who illegally attach structures at the rear of the home to house additional people. The question arises as to who is responsible to enforce the regulations. Excuse me. The California Code of Regulations, Title 25, lays the responsibility of enforcement of the Health and Safety Code and the provisions of Title 25 within the parks by a city, county, or city and county. The City Council has not made reasonable efforts to discuss or investigate violations. Therefore, it is within our rights to demand a reinspection of the park. The violations are so widespread, it is not possible to mention all of them within 2 minutes. It's time a representative of the council takes a tour of the park to understand our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mann. Glenn Sylvester.
Evening again, council. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Wow, I learned quite quite a few things, but I just want to give what I know about the Franciscan. 501 homes,
Yep.
20% to be put aside for low income, and yet they are not low income. And I went out with them on this food program to deliver food to those who are in need of food. And it's amazing to me how appreciative the folks were, and they do this every week. And I just couldn't understand. And then the other issues that they have that I learned as I've driven around Daly City, and it's very tough to park to even get one car down the street, was that at the Franciscan, if you leave your car out on the street at night between 1 and 4, they'll come out and tow it. I think it's not good. And then just recently, security at the gate. Security people are not even showing up for work. So where's that peace of mind? And are we going to task our Daly City police officers to now handle calls at Franciscan for peace that they've always had and enjoyed before? What I am saying, council members, there's a lot of things going on at Franciscan. Please give them their time to approach you, say something, the chance for the second reading. And you know, as I sit in the front, I look at that Daly City logo all the time, gateway to the peninsula. I don't think we should be a gateway to anywhere. This is Daly City. Let's be the gateway to the community. Thank you so much.
Okay. 2 more cards, Pamela Di Giovanni, and then we'll finish up with Sunny Kinney Kinney.
Good evening, Council, Vice Mayor. I just want to say that it came to my attention, which I always knew because Sonny's been my friend and the people at the Franciscan, that there have been a lot of people that have been homeless during this process of, I believe, 9 to 10 years. And to hear that seniors have been displaced and evicted, and whether they're evicted and having to go to Antioch or any place else, it's really a chandra. And that this is happening in our community. And I do hope that when the meeting occurs and these people finally get some justice, and that many people have been passed on now and never got to see the justice. So when there's an injustice against one of us, it's against all of us. So I really want people to really research and think about it, especially since we just had Rosh Hashanah. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Sunny Kinney Kinney.
Good evening, everyone. It's not all bad news at the Franciscan. Bishop Pona, please don't count my time yet. I just want to commend
Your time's.
our Chief of Police. You've honored the fire department. Let the Franciscans honor our Daly City Police Department. Personal experience, had problems with some residents, called our Chief of Police. In 15 minutes, I had the lieutenant at my place taking care of the situation. And what do you call that service? Full service. Thank you. So that's where we are. You know, we have a police department who's helping us maintain peace and order. But more than that, let's talk about the bad news. The streamer here talk about the basic foundation of the non-compliance that all of you and Pat Martel are committing right now. California Health and Safety Code, sections 34376 to 34379 is over all of you. This is the act that allowed you to give $53 million to Link Housing, which they spent for whatever purpose they can think of. We don't have any accounting. In addition, there was refinancing to the tune of $58 million. This government is liable under this California Health and Safety Code. And this is the non-compliance. $53 million tax-exempt bonds was given to Link Housing with the condition that low-income families will submit forms and be qualified in this. We're doing it. We have a resident who submitted that. The problem is
Turn off the timer.
our residents comply with this regulation. Link Housings enjoy reduced property tax since 2002. Our residents do not get any benefit that this provision should be supplying us. We've been coming here since 2008. What do we get? Pat Martel, I met you in 2008. You and Mr. Gingona came to the park, and all that you told me was, you cannot tie up your rent increase issue with a real estate fraud. And I did. This issue is a real estate fraud. This is racketeering, and you folks need to go after Link Housing, transfer the ownership to us.
Yep.
That's the only solution that I can recommend to you. And do it right away, because the court order is on top of you. We are complying with the guidelines. I consulted our lawyer. There's no problem with complying with it. What's stopping you guys? Let's have the second study session, work on the transfer. Our residents will be better served if this group here is running the park and the residents own the park. Link Housing had been making too much money, and that is that's a crime. And Link Housing continues the crime with RSG all over California. Why are we allowing this? We have documents to prove that this is going on. Every affordable housing that Link Housing and RSG gets into becomes a profit for entity.
Okay, Mr. Kinney.
And our residents had been evicted. I want you folks to remember this. A large number of our residents had been evicted. I'll ask you, and Pat, please listen to this. Do you think that the Franciscan Affordable Housing Project lightened the burden on Daly City on affordable housing? I know you don't want to answer that. What happened was you made heavier the burden, not only here, but in San Francisco and around, because we have residents who had become homeless because of your inattention. This has got to stop.
Mr. Kinney, thank you. There's always the Kinney rule. We give you an extra couple of minutes, but
I
thank
know
you
that.
for your comments, and have a good evening, okay? We'll
Thank
call
you,
it the Kinney
Supervisor.
rule.
Thank you.
Okay. So with that, are there any appointments from the city council?
No. Not for
Great.
me.
Item number 17, council committee reports. You know, I don't have a report. I don't have a report, but I do want to make people aware. Ms. Christensen and I and staff continue to work on revisions to the single-family residential district. We're looking at looking at the aesthetics of buildings, looking at the parking issue, which is always on everyone's mind. Ms. Christensen, I don't know if you want to add to that, please.
Absolutely. One of the things that actually staff has been talking about, and we've been talking about for a long time, is the concern that a lot of you have about mega homes. Homes coming into the neighborhood with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bedrooms. And because they call themselves a single-family home, and because maybe they only have one kitchen, they have a lot of bedrooms and a lot of bathrooms, they are required under current law to provide 2 parking spots. So the effort there is to look at how we determine how many parking spots are required. I am living directly across the street from not 1, not 2, but 3 houses with 8 bedrooms. They plan to rent out the rooms one by one to college students, and they are only required to have, count them, 2 parking spots. So all I can say is thank God I've got a driveway. So we feel your pain about parking, and we're going to really try to do something about it. We can't fix it because there's too many cars, not enough street. But we're going to do our best to make sure that anything that comes in new complies with more parking.
Great, thank you. That was well done. Are there any other council committee reports? No. Okay, do we have reports from the city council? You know, I do have a report. I see Mr. Buenaventura in his barong. Mr. Bonaventura, you want to tell us what we
Go
did
ahead. No,
Saturday?
please, go ahead.
Okay, so we had a tremendous celebration on Saturday. We had the Consul General of the Philippines. We had numerous performers. We had Mr. Gingona, Mr. Buenaventura. And so as many of you know, this is, October is Filipino-American History Month. And so the program was fantastic. Let me commend staff. We had many food vendors. We had vendors selling books, books on, Jose Rizal, everything. It was just, it was a really well attended. From what I understand, Mr. Buenaventura, and you may want to weigh in, but it was probably the best attended
lot of people
event
there.
we had.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to let you explain a little, if you can. Mr.
So
Buenaventura.
I really thought that the program was very lively and very entertaining. There was a lot of really different performances that just really captured the interest of a lot of people and kept a nice flow throughout the day. So I want to commend the performers. They were very interesting to watch. They added a lot of excitement. And I also want to thank, obviously, all the vendors that came out there and supported the event. They were tremendous. There was a lot of tables filled with a lot of stuff for people to participate in. So I also want to thank the staff. I think you guys did a tremendous job. That's all.
Great. Ms. Christensen, Mr. Giona? Okay. Staff, is there a staff report?
None this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Martell. I do want to say something about Ms. Martell. I want to thank Ms. Martell. Ms. Martell was the past president of ICMA, and so thank you for your service, Ms. Martell. Finally, journal memory. We have Jose Jaime. He's wastewater employee. Hector Lugo's grandfather. Luis Mole, public works employees. Carl Mole's mother. Leanne Mussman, Lieutenant Ron Mussman's mother. And a very dear friend of ours died, Ness Ocampo. And Ness Ocampo was really, truly a legend. He had a radio show. He actually worked with my brother-in-law's uncle. They did a Filipino basketball league here in Daly City, which was highly successful. But Ness would always have a radio show, and he had in his earlier days, he spent time in Hawaii, a lot of time in Hawaii. His daughter, Caroline, is tremendous. The family's great, and Ness will definitely be missed. He cared very much about the Filipino community, what was happening in the Philippines, and reported that on the radio. So Ness, you'll be missed, and thank you for your contributions.
I have one.
Mr. Buenaventura.
Yeah, so I want to apologize for being late this evening, but I was at actually a funeral. My Auntie Sally, very personal to me, passed away, and she was a beautiful woman that had a lot of friends, and the funeral services was just, it was beautiful. It was overwhelming, and I'd like to adjourn in her memory. Her name was Salud Buenaventura Villarosa. May you rest in peace. Thank you.
With that, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much, folks. Have a great night. Thank you.